how did you react to the news and what went in your mind after you heard the news?
Straightforward and a very good Fauji who gave me just 1 week's time to brood over, to get over my grief as a mother. If any family had a neurological child, it was considered to be mental issues. ये family में ना कोई mental बच्चा है.
Much sharper in planning as opposed to my parents or your parents for that matter. You know, these guys just said कि हो जाएगा, चल जाएगा, निकल ही जाएगा kind of a thing, and that is not the way the world works anymore. So I think planning for all aspects.
We realize that investment is the key to go ahead. Parallelly एक life चल रही है, but this life cannot be possible unless you have a secure financial investment. Now that was, I think, the life changer.
Hello and welcome to Depend on Insurance, Depend on Us, where we bring you stories of strength, resilience and dependability. Hi, my name is Akshay Dhand and I am the appointed actuary of Canara HSBC Life Insurance. And today, I have the pleasure of speaking to someone whose story of love and perseverance will surely leave you spellbound. Joining me today is Bakhtawar Saini, an educationist and proud mother of Ranveer Saini, India's first autistic golfer to win a gold medal at the Special Olympics. Welcome Bakhtawar and thank you for joining us here today. How are you?
Very well. Thank you, Akshay, for having me on your show. And like you rightly said, I consider myself to be a proud mom of Ranveer, and I've been called as Ranveer's mom.
That's absolutely amazing.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure it's a great feeling.
Thank you.
But tell me, let's take a step back and let's go back to how it all began. When was he diagnosed and how did you guys figure that out that something was going on, and how did you react to the news and what went in your mind after you heard the news?
So 2000, when Ranveer was born, it was a vacuum pressure delivery. I had herpes zoster in my 4th month when I was expecting Ranveer.
Okay.
So till date, one doesn't know, there's a question mark always, what led to the autism. And 1 year, 11 months old, we as parents noticed enough red flags for us to be alert that there was something amiss. I have a daughter ahead of Ranveer who's 4 years older than Ranveer. So I had raised her, so I knew how developmental milestones are achieved in every child. So when I was noticing Ranveer go through a phase where he would have a repetitive behavior, less eye contact, running around in circles, walking on his toes, you know, having peculiar hand movements, facial expressions, poor eye contact. So these were enough flags which me as a parent understood that there was something amiss. I earlier thought it was just deafness, maybe he's not responding when I would call out his name. So we took him to a pediatric doctor, and he told us to go for an assessment. Now I'm talking about 23 years ago, where assessment was unheard of. And we went and met this doctor whom he sent us to in Bombay. I'm born and brought up in Bombay. Ranveer is a Bombay child. And when we went to the doctor, all she did was give Ranveer a couple of toys to play. That process is called pretend and play. So obviously Ranveer did not respond well to those toys. And she gave me a label called PDD, NOS, which means pervasive developmental disorder,
not
otherwise specified. And autism ? Now this was the label I remember given to both me and my husband, and I had a smile on my face because I did not even know what autism was all about. Lack of awareness. 20 years ago, nothing. Statistics in those years was 1 in 500 kids was autistic. Today, Akshay, the alarming trend is 1 in 36 kid is autistic.
Oh God, is it become so much more?
It's come down, so it's narrowed to this kind of alarming statistics.
Could it be also because of the diagnosis being so much better now?
Exactly. Diagnosis being better, people being aware. You know, I remember searching on Google to find out more about autism, and then I knew it was a lifelong struggle ahead of us. It's not going to be simple that antibiotics and the child is absolutely fine.
True.
But so it took us a little time to absorb what was given to us in the form of a label, and lo be it, my husband is was a Fauji, Indian Navy, and ex-NDA from the Indian Navy. So we got our posting during that time of his diagnosis from Bombay to Delhi. So that was a little tough time when the family was moving, bag and baggage. My job, I also was working with the Taj group of hotels. So the family had to migrate with a diagnosis given to us just a week prior to the shifting. So it was a little confusing, a little tormenting, and with a 5-year-old daughter and Ranveer just 2, we moved into Delhi. And I remember 1 week after we shifted to Delhi, I went to the neurologist over here, a top neurologist in Delhi. And he just had a look at us, understood Ranveer, saw his behavior pattern, and he just told me autism. Now, I was very, very upset with the doctor for being so ruthless and curt and for not having done any investigation to just give me a label like that. So initially, it becomes a little, the denial sets in for a parent that it cannot be happening to my family. And I remember being very upset with that doctor, and I literally was very rude to him and said, screaming hoarse and telling him that you need to be a little more understanding, please ask us questions.
I think he had thorough investigation or something, right?
But I think he had seen enough of the likes of me and my family. So he just said, Bacha, you have to go back home and start intervention. So this is how the harsh label of autism dawned upon us and came into our lives. And then the journey with autism began.
I'm really sure that it must have been a very, very difficult time, especially because you were also moving between cities from Bombay to Delhi. And, like you rightfully said, the first thought is denial. Ki ye mere saath nahi hota. This is not something which is going to happen to me or my family.
Yes.
So once you moved out of denial, or once you kind of moved into acceptance, what were the thoughts going in your head? Okay, what am I going to do now?
So see, I would urge parents like me, first of all, to get out of this denial mode ASAP. The quicker you get out of this denial mode, the better it is for you and your child. Because I have understood and met many parents in this journey where they spend years together trying to work out that it cannot be happening to them and their family. My husband was a very straightforward and a very good Fauji who gave me just 1 week's time to brood over, to get over my grief as a mother. He says, all this is given to us, take it as God's gift and just work on your child. So we did not really, we were educated enough not to waste time on, the label given to us. I was really not worried about the tag which my son was given. I was worried about how to move further.
How to deal with it.
How to deal with. What is next? So obviously the next step is parents run towards medical intervention, because it's considered to be an ailment, a neurological ailment. Now, unfortunately, there is no real cure for autism. Over my journey of 23 years with Ranveer, I feel intervention and therapies and working with the child is the only way you can get your child moving on the path, So as a mother and as parents, we ran around from pillar to post through any kind of Fragile X syndrome test and MRIs and the EEGs. The child, a 2-year-old child was put through those atrocities. And I remember sedating the kid with cough syrups because how else would you put him in an MRI chamber? So he went through that, and it was very, very painful as parents to be watching your kid go through that. And then sitting in front of the doctor with a hope that he says, MRI is fine, ab sab theek ho jayega. So that glint of hope would vanish once you come home and say, he's still running around circles, he would keep running around the table. And that running would be a non-stop repetitive behavior. Which initially would look very cute. A 2-year-old running, one would feel it's very cute. But after a point, it looks slightly abnormal. Socially, a little abnormal. So that's how one noticed that, yes, Ranveer has these flaws and we have to work upon curbing and suppressing his behavior issues. In any case, there was a societal stigma, I'm talking about 23 years ago. If any family had a neurological tag, it was considered to be mental issues. ये फैमिली में ना कोई मेंटल बच्चा है. Now those mental बच्चा, autism तो कोई जानता ही नहीं था तब. So this mental tag was very heavy on
Such
parents.
Strong word, no?
Such strong, harsh words, Whispers in parties, whispers in gatherings, in parks. Hey, iska bachcha na thoda mental hai. I got sick and fed up of that word after a point, and I realized that, it's time I need to absorb and make my child get into the society, face these people, and understand that it's no big deal having this tag in my life. It's no big deal. I want my child to face the world. The world will have to learn to adjust to my child. Just too bad. So that's how I think made me change my perception. I remember many a times going to social parks and social gatherings, and I would get, pressurized by the social crowd because Ranveer had a repetitive behavior issue. He was obsessed. These kids are obsessed with particular things.
Yeah.
So he used to be obsessed with wristwatches.
Okay.
So any wristwatch on any lady or any gentleman he would find appealing to him, he would run and just touch the watch.
Okay.
Now, obviously, if you don't know Ranveer and he happens to just come, you will obviously show off and look at the mother, don't you know? If not taught him any manners, this is how he behaves. So the mother in me would go and say, it's not manners, it's his obsession, it's the autism behind.
Okay.
Please teach your child some manners. Nobody is really bothered about what autism is. So that's how he would go. He would have an obsession of good food. So if I were to take him to a Pizza Hut, he would be happy seeing his pizza, but he would want to see every pizza of every table. So he would get up and go to the next table and at times even touch somebody's food. Obviously, that's not socially acceptable. So parents like us had to be always on our toes. We had to have standby options when we would go out for a family dinner, as in a camera would come out, a drawing board would come out, things to distract. Khana to mangaya hai, but this paraphernalia of a bag which goes with us as parents, that a drawing book comes out, keep him less distracted, focus. So these kind of things was the beginning of our life. And my whole house was Akshay labeled with small parches, FAN fan, LIGHT light, TABLE table. So I had exposed Ranveer to so many labels, I would really not be bothered who's coming to my house and whatever the guest had to say about the look of my house. I had exposed Ranveer to so much of vocabulary. I would insist, I would go down to his level and talk to him. I would insist he gives me the eye contact. I would do my homework religiously, what the therapist would tell me. And when I say I represent the family. The entire family would do their homework. We would all be involved. If I am getting tired working on Ranveer, my husband takes over, the sibling takes over. It has to be a team effort.
So thank you, Bakhtawar, for this insight. And now let's move on. And you were talking about family here. And family is something in the Indian setup one hugely depends upon. So, and this I'm talking about the wider family. So how did you break the news once you guys kind of accepted the whole thing and started or wanted to start the intervention? How did you break the news to your wider family? What was their reaction, and then how did they eventually end up supporting you?
Initially, there was a little fear, to be honest, because mine was an intercaste marriage, married very young. So there was this resistance to approach anybody for help. But when we realized what's best for the child and that we need to be informing my set of parents, his set of parents, extended relatives, is when we made those phone calls. Now again, if autism was new to me, you can imagine how it would dawn on a grandparent. So when I remember making that call to my in-laws in Ludhiana at that moment, my father-in-law, a very educated man, a PhD, gold medalist, he absorbed autism quite quickly. Which was very reassuring for me. He says, oh, the first reaction was, oh, okay.
And you still remember?
I remember. And the phone, there was STD call karna padta tha, wo bhi. And he hung up, and they just left everything and left their social life, left their work culture, and moved into Gurgaon with us. Lived in those days, the houses also were quite small. So they lived in a flat opposite us. But we ensured that the family was close. So I think when holding hands happened, acceptability happened, the stigma slowly vanished from my dictionary at least.
That is so amazing, because especially coming at that time when people of our age wouldn't have heard of autism, for the grandparents to absorb and say, okay, and also show their support that we're going to come and stay with you and provide you the support necessary, is absolutely. I mean, it's brilliant actually. So that's what dependability can do for you. Now that the family went together and you guys had started intervention and all, how did the next few years go about? How did you manage to teach Ranveer? And now that he's a world-class golfer, like obviously he learned so much. So how did you manage to teach Ranveer the living skills plus education also had to be done, and then eventually golf came in as well. So take us through this journey and how did you guys go through the whole thing?
Leaving the emotions aside, I feel intervention, like I said, is the only way one can move forward. So Ranveer would have his play school where this initially play school admissions also was difficult because they are so hyper that they would not be even sitting in one place for more than 5 minutes. So obviously the play school would find it difficult managing this kid who is all over the place.
Yeah.
So we had some good people come out in our way. He was a Tenderfeet, if I remember correctly. Yes, Tenderfeet school in Vasant Kunj absorbed him. Okay. And that's how Ranveer's play school journey began. But now time for mainstream school set in. And I realized that it's going to be a tall order getting him admission. Now I'm talking about 20 years ago, where special education was really not the norm of any academic school. So I remember, I would not name schools, but we went to the top schools of Delhi NCR, and my husband would be in his Navy uniform, saluting the principals and asking them for admission, and we were shown the door. And it led to a point of frustration and desperation when I remember having a showdown with one of the topmost school's principals saying, my husband is an ex-NDA, he's planned to sacrifice his entire life for the nation.
Yeah.
And this is the least one can do, that a family like ours can be protected by you by seeking an admission. It doesn't work.
It didn't work that also.
Emotions don't work in today's day and age. Today, I feel the society is really not bothered what emotionally you are going through. That's your part of your journey. Deal with it. So that's the time we decided it's time we give up our respective careers. So it was a flourishing 15-year-old long career for my husband as an Indian naval officer, doing very well for himself. My husband put up his papers with the Navy, and I put up the next year. And then he and his sister both decided it's time we start a venture of our own. And with full compassion and full desperation, Scottish High, our school, came into being. That's how we decided to start a school, and Ranveer was the first student of our school to be admitted in nursery.
Oh.
And I gave up my own Taj career and started marketing school with my small little thela of a laptop, going to big corporates in NCR, Gurgaon and play schools, trying to tell them and make them aware how Scottish High came into being. And the first academic year of Scottish High, we started with 125 students. And today, we are, by God's grace and with Ranveer's blessings, and many like Ranveer have moved and done well for themselves.
That's really, really nice. I mean, Scottish High now obviously is one of the top schools of Gurgaon. So, it is surprising for me to hear that it came out of the fact that you needed a school for Ranveer. I mean, the seed of Scottish High was born from that fact. That's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Moving on to the golf journey. So, how did Ranveer pick up golf? And was that a conscious decision in your mind to get him into some kind of sports? Because sports also teaches us a lot of things. For example, for me growing up, somehow I have not really got into sports too much, and I have realized what I missed out. And in fact, to my kids, I am purposely trying quite hard that, one sport you should pick up, not for becoming an excellent sportsman, but just to learn the lessons of life which sports teaches you. So, did that thought also come into your mind when you were encouraging Ranveer to take up golf, or was it just like, how did that go about? Let's hear that.
So what happens is with autism, like I told you, social skills are zilch.
Yeah.
So Ranveer did not have real good friends in life. There were no play dates happening. Parents would hesitate sending their kids even to our house to play with Ranveer, because they would fear for Ranveer to be aggressive, so he might push our kid. So everyone wanted to shy away from this family, so-called Saini family, with one autistic offspring. So it was difficult for us to inculcate social skills in a child. Where do I take him to play? If he does not have any friend? So my husband was a golfer. His family is full of golfers.
Yeah.
So we decided, let's put him with nature and let's expose him to golf, because golf is a game where you don't really need friends.
Yeah, it's a solo game.
You can actually go for a solo round of 9 holes or an 18 holes and play golf by yourself. Golf is a game of character. You're playing for yourself and by yourself. Golf and autism are poles apart.
Okay.
Golf requires complete focus, complete attention span.
True.
Autism is completely lack of focus and lack of attention.
Yeah.
So how am I going to make both these meet?
Work together, yeah.
So we were very fortunate to have Mr. Anitya Chand, the DLF head coach, in our journey.
Okay.
And this was his first differently abled student. And we requested him, please sir, take him on with zero expectations. Expectation was only that Ranveer gets to mingle around with his family on a round of
Golf.
Recreational golf.
Yeah.
Just a family round of golf. And with Ranveer, I decided to join in and understand and learn golf myself.
So both of you went together?
Yes, with Ranveer, we enrolled our daughter later to join in. So we wanted a family setup. My husband was very clear that it has to be a compulsory weekend family tee-off with the family.
Okay.
So that's how planning, in any case, in everything in life, planning is required.
Yeah.
So we approached Mr. Anitya Chand, who said he was a little hesitant because differently abled child, how is he going to communicate, how is he going to teach the technique? So the first 2 years, I remember Karthik or me would be there for every single class of Ranveer. We would be the mediators between the coach and the student. And whatever Anitya sir would say, in my simplified language would be taught to Ranveer, and Ranveer would then do whatever he had understood. So initially there was no connect, there was no joy coming our way. Game of patience. Had we given up, thinking, no, it's not working, today he would not be where he is.
Yeah, totally true.
So it was a game of patience, and my husband was very clear that we will pursue this. Because I found that when Ranveer would come back from his class, he was given that therapy, he was given that dose, and I realized sports is also a therapeutic
it is like
activity.
Occupation therapy.
Absolutely. Yeah. But in those years, you felt, abhi sports mein time waste karega, to therapy kab hoegi, therapy miss ho jayegi. We were stuck on therapies. So, but sports is, I urge parents, explore the kid to as many activities as possible, not only sports, music. These kids are multifaceted. They have so many hidden talents. They are genius in a few things.
Yeah.
How do you identify what is working for your child? By investing the time and by observing this kid, how he's delivering.
So true. In fact, playing to anybody's strength is the thing to do.
In anything.
So, in anything in life. And if you can do that with these kids, and you're absolutely right, some of the skills they have they're like prodigy type skills.
Absolutely prodigy type. I would say I would call Ranveer the Einstein of my house, because instantly Einstein was also autistic. Ranveer has this knack, which again I discovered by fluke when I would take him for religious gurus, and every Sunday we would go to get some blessings. That person told us that come now on so and so date, which is a Sunday. And Ranveer in a second told me, no, it's a Saturday. And I realized, how would he know that the date is a Saturday or a Sunday? And before I could check on my mobile, I knew he was right. So these are the feelers your child will throw at you. Now depends on how well you have accepted it and how well you want to move ahead with it, explore more.
Yeah.
So then I realized it's this talent of a calendar date. Any date you ask him, be it any year. Ranveer, 15th August 2026 is which day? Monday. So it was a sheer excitement for me that here I'm struggling to teach him a mental math problem. And how is he delivering an answer as tough as this?
Absolutely.
So when I consulted various people there, then I understood that these kids have that genius streak.
Yeah.
He has the genius streak of a perfect pitch, A perfect pitch is again gifted. A Mozart had it, Beethoven. These are called the perfect pitch people.
You want to explain?
Perfect pitch is listening by the ear and understanding what chord each musical instrument is being played upon. I was learning the guitar myself, and I was practicing and doing my homework, which was playing on an F chord. And I was struggling, and he was running around and moving around. And I was just talking to my husband, I'm not mastering the F chord. So Ranveer says, you're playing the G chord.
Are you serious?
And it dawned upon me, am I really hearing this? Is that music to my ears? And I said, G chord, and how would he know? I have not taught him music. I've only made him enroll into a musical academy where he's playing on the keyboard, and he's picked up the keyboard well. For an autistic boy to clear his Trinity level 1, Trinity level 2, and I'm planning to pursue it further.
Okay.
How does he know I was playing so-and-so chord on the guitar?
Just by sheer listening.
Just by the ear. So then I did not stop there. This is where I tell parents, don't stop there. Explore. So I took him to 10 different musicians who were experts in their own field. One was a guitarist, one was a drummer, one was on the harmonium. And they would play, and Ranveer would be facing his back towards them. And he would just say D minor, D sharp, A minor, E chord. And that's how the magic of music came into our lives. So you see, these kids have bundles of gifts given to them by God Almighty.
Absolutely.
So like they say in Hindi, na ek cheez le lete,
तो 100
cheezeं और दे देते हैं. So don't give up on those 100 things, no?
Absolutely.
So that's how, coming back to golf, golfing again did not happen for the next 2 years. So when he enrolled with Anitya sir, he was 9 years old. Till 12, we were struggling for a connect. Today, if I were to give you a club, people from the outside feel, क्या है? बल्ला ही तो है, ball ले आओ, मार दिया.
नहीं, Baba, it's quite a tough game.
I ask you to connect in one shot, and it will not be possible.
Yeah, not at all.
Not be possible.
I can tell you by personal experience, it doesn't work like that.
So initially, the ball would just keep duffing, and there was no connect coming. And suddenly, the click happened. That was the most beautiful and the most, I think, precious time for Karthik and me. Tears of joy that the click has finally happened. The ball could be flying and landing somewhere. But it was not easy. Golf is a game of technique, like I said. So each club has a yardage assigned to the club. So how does a child with autism, who himself is not focused, be taught yardages? Forget hitting तो हो गया, अब yardages कैसे सिखाया जाए?
The next level.
So we would not shy. We would put big timetable of yardages. A chart would be made, stuck on his golf bags. I would go and tell every caddy that this is the yardage to be followed. Usko communication में problem है. Now caddies will not understand autism. To make people understand autism, go to their level of understanding. So I would remember telling a common man like a caddy कि भैया उसको कम्युनिकेशन में प्रॉब्लम है, बोल नहीं पाएगा, आप ना ये चार्ट रेफर करके उसको खिलाना. अगर आपको लगता है 70 यार्ड का शॉट है तो ये सैंडविच पे उठा के उसको दे देना. So I made life simple for his caretakers also. The environment was helping me because I was making it simple for them, breaking down as per their level of understanding. So when he was 12 years old, a tournament came up in Macau. It was the Asia Pacific Golf Masters. And at that moment of time, it was also for beginners to get an opportunity to participate. And Karthik was hell-bent that, yes, he has to go. So when he took him to Macau, I was home looking after my daughter and I had no expectations. But I thought it would be a good exposure for the kid to at least have an international exposure. He came back not with 1, but 2 gold medals for the country.
Awesome. That is so awesome.
Now, that was, I think, the life changer. Not because of the gold medals. The self-esteem with which my son came back was visible in his eyes. I cannot forget that moment when he entered and the school kids were raising him on their shoulders and taking him on, and the whole school cheering for him. The media became coming and, glorifying his achievements. It was not the showbiz and the attention which he drew, it was the social acceptance which made parents like me feel so much better that, now I will not have to struggle for the world to accept me.
Yeah.
The world has themselves realized, oops, an autistic kid can achieve this. Not 1 but 2 gold medals. So I think that was a life changer. And then we pursued how does one make him enter the arena more professionally.
So at a professional level.
So that's when Special Olympics Bharat came in. Now, Special Olympics Bharat is a national federation recognized by the government of India. It's a sports body which deals with intellectually disabled children. Children and adults. The Olympic Committee is divided where people are again not aware. Indians, though following all different formats of sports, are not aware that there is a Special Olympics which looks after intellectually disabled children. There is a Para-Olympics which looks after physically challenged. Then there is a Deaf and Dumb Olympics. And then there is a Normal Olympics.
So actually this is so true because I was only aware of Para-Olympics and the Normal Olympics. I've never heard before I did my research on you. I hadn't heard of Special Olympics, or for that matter, Deaf and Dumb is something I'm just hearing right now.
Yes, so there are these 4 different Olympic formats, and all of them follow the Olympic format of World Games happening every 4 years. So Special Olympics is split between Summer Games and Winter Games. And golf being a summer game, 2015 Summer Games were supposed to be held at Los Angeles. And Ranveer was a golfer with Special Olympics. He got enrolled as an athlete. And we realized that he has the potential. By then, from 12 years till 15 years,
we figured that out.
We figured out that he has the potential to represent India. And Akshay, a mother who looks back upon those years of therapies and struggles, to see your boy with an India jersey.
Must be
and in any case, a patriotic by heart. I'm a hardcore Indian and a Fauji's wife. And I would always want that Indian flag of typical Sunny Deol kind of fan, border movie and all those. So when I saw my child with that India jersey, total goosebumps and ready to go kinds.
I think you're getting goosebumps talking about
it. Absolutely. And he left with the contingent, and he was the first Indian autistic golfer who came back with a goal at just a tender age of 15. And he competed with 21 countries, And I remember the finals were with US. Yes, the competing country was the USA. And in his journey of golf, he has very good unified partners who helped him. So there was his unified partners in Monica Jaju and Rahul Agarwal who have helped him in different formats. And so that's what I'm saying. If the world sees that this family is working towards making that autistic kid get rid of that label and lead a normal life, the world will jump into hell. So that's how 2015 gold medal, 2019 he represented India again at Abu Dhabi World Games. He came back with a silver medal. He lost the gold on the 18th hole in the tournament on the 4th day. But that's golf, and that's how golfers are.
But that's sports for you,
right? That's sports. And then 2023, last year, he went to Berlin and he again came back with a gold. So he's the first Indian autistic golfer with a hat-trick victory for India.
Absolutely amazing.
The government also then recognized his efforts. He has been bestowed the Beam Award. And with the Beam Award comes a lot of other perks. So imagine a tiny boy from Haryana getting a Beam Award. He gets a monthly pension of 5,000 rupees at this age in his account. And it's all because of his doing, his abilities, not disabilities. His own abilities has made him reach his superior abilities.
Absolutely.
He is a 7 times Limca record book holder. 7 times. And my father-in-law would joke with me that हमारे 7 पुश्तों में ना कोई ओलंपिक का ओ नहीं देखा है. And तुम्हारा बेटा एक नहीं 3 वर्ल्ड गेम्स जाके आया और तीनों में लेके आया मेडल. So what more as a parent?
What more do you want?
Would one want in life?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have 2 more beautiful children. I have Parinaz and I have Ranvijay. And I must tell you, the way the siblings have supported me in this journey, at times as a mother and as a father, we feel that maybe we did not invest that kind of time in them.
Yeah.
But they grew up into a responsible sibling, And honestly, I did not give them a choice. I had always brought them up with a feeling you cannot choose your family. Family has been chosen by God. So if the five of us has been chosen to be a family unit by God, you jolly well live with it, with our limitations.
And figure it out.
And figure out. So my kids are strong and as determined as their parents that Ranveer has to lead an independent life. I urge parents that sports, therapies on one side, teach your child all day living skills. So why not teach him to learn and be self-sufficient?
Absolutely.
Why not teach him, your nails have grown, it's time to cut them, buddy. No mother and father will come. So
Certainly
there was,
beyond a point, they won't come.
how do you teach them that death is a part of life?
Yeah.
Death is going to come and then parents have to leave. How do parents realize they have to leave enough, invest enough, and make your kid, be independent?
Absolutely.
And not very dependable on the siblings or the family or the extended family?
Fair enough.
Parents have to think of wise investment plans. Parents have to think of, making their child as independent as possible.
Absolutely. That is absolutely the thing to do. And I feel that I think parents these days are anyway much sharper in planning as opposed to my parents or your parents for that matter. These guys just said ki ho jayega, chal jayega, nikal hi jayega kind of a thing, and that is not the way the world works anymore. So I think planning for all aspects, including financial planning, is extremely important.
Absolutely important.
Right? So Bakhtawar, actually, we've really nicely hit upon that point about financial planning, and to me that is an extremely crucial part of bringing up a child in this world. Because and could it be a child who needs some additional attention, could be a child who doesn't need additional attention. Either way, things are only getting more expensive, and it's extremely crucial for parents to realize it and start planning from the word go, because what life throws at you in terms of ups and downs, in terms of medical ups and downs, financial ups and downs, you really don't know. So the least you can do is at least plan for one thing which is in your control. So if you plan your finances well, things become so much easier. You could think of doing things using life insurance, you could think of doing things using other investments as well, but financial planning is extremely crucial, and I would like to hear your views on that. And also, how did you go about, because obviously raising Ranveer with his additional therapy costs and all wouldn't have been easier. So how did you go about that bit? And how did you and your husband both, because both of you would have had to kind of get involved. How did you go about that bit?
See, especially with Ranveer, being a Fauji's wife, our Fauj is a very protective community. There are a lot of perks in your daily living which the Fauj provides.
Yep.
So when we stepped out of that cushioned life, we realized that investment is the key to go ahead. Parallelly, एक life चल रही है, but this life cannot be possible unless you have a secure financial investment.
Absolutely.
And I think normal, raising any child, you need to plan your life well, be it in the form of various kinds of secured policies which will benefit your kid in his future and as he's growing up. And coming from a very orthodox Parsi upbringing, Parsis have a habit of saving. So for me, Parsis have a habit of securing the medical emergencies also through mediclaims and all those. Different kinds of policies I got an exposure as I was growing up only, courtesy my father. So investment was a very important ingredient in my life. So policies and planning Ranveer's future, planning Parinaz's future, and planning Ranvijay's future. Today's kids, as they grow up, besides their therapies, what Ranveer is, sports also is a very expensive hobby.
It's an expensive affair.
You
golf, golf is not
your equipments, your training, everything has a cost involved. And kids, when they grow up, they want to study abroad. So how does one do that unless you are financially secured? And to be secured, your investments and your plans have to be, everything is planning, a foolproof planning system.
I'm sure. Have you thought of buying term insurance also? Have you purchased on the protection side as well?
We have done everything possible under the sun to secure Ranveer as he grows up, to have guarantors like his siblings to make sure that the policy is taken care of even after we go.
This is so important.
So
this is so
very
important. In fact, I would like to urge all the parents, at least invest in two things for sure. One, invest in a good term assurance plan, because extremely crucial. If something were to go wrong with you, what is going to happen to the kids? That's point number one. And secondly, try and invest in a child plan, which will ensure that your savings are reach a certain level which is needed for the child, say education or any training in sports,
absolutely,
or for that matter wedding and stuff like that, everything. And that child plan has an additional element of protection where even if something goes wrong with you, the premiums are funded by the company. So at least these two policies I really urge people to look at and buy,
of course,
for the purpose of financial planning. And in fact, it's even more important than it used to be before, because things are getting so much more expensive.
The cost of living is like every different day is it's,
and kids are wanting to explore so many things. They, like you said, they want to go abroad, they want to study different kind of things. So it's extremely crucial that you have the the ways and means at that point in time that okay, fine, you can go and live your dream, go and try your dream out, and not be bogged down by the finances bit of it.
And actually, I would like to add over here the emotional. There's a thought process which families of disabled or differently abled children's parents always have, is what's going to happen after we go. So in any case, that trauma and that fear always nags you. So might as well work upon it when you are live and healthy and earning in life, and secure your child's future.
Absolutely.
So investing is a very important part.
Absolutely. In fact, I was mentioning earlier, the generation before us wasn't so good with financial planning, and as a result, a lot of us, and talking about myself, we had to figure our own education ourselves, and this is why the day I started working, I started saying, and the day my kids were born, I opened bank accounts for them the day they were born, or within a few weeks of they were born. I started investing in policies because I don't want them to face the issues I've had to face, because the financial planning was not done to the extent required. So I can very proudly say for myself that I am trying to ensure that at least the finances bit is taken care of as far as my kids are concerned.
So Parinaz and Ranvijay are my left and right pillars of strength in raising Ranveer. I think if Parinaz is the mother figure for Ranveer today, I would proudly say Ranvijay is the shadow for Ranveer. He's going to be there for Ranveer. So I have raised my kids not giving them a choice. Yes, as parents, at times I do apologize to them today on a public forum that I could have gone wrong in giving Ranveer more time than them, because somewhere deep in the mind I had that thing, हो जाएगा ना, इनका तो हो जाएगा, इसको time चाहिए, इसको guidance चाहिए, इनके sports activities miss होते थे मेरे से, but Ranveer का golf class नहीं miss होता था. It would not be possible without my children. Hats off to Pari and Ranveer.
I'm sure, I'm totally sure
for supporting me, emotionally balancing all the three children.
Absolutely. So Bakhtawar, let's move on to the fun part of the discussion, and we have a rapid fire round for that, and I'm going to ask you a series of quick questions, and you can give me witty and rapid replies to them.
I'll try.
So are you ready for that?
I'll try my best.
Okay, cool. Let's start. Right, okay. So my first question is, Bakhtawar, how would you describe Ranveer in one word?
Tenacious.
Oh, how cool. That's a beautiful word. Next question. What's been the most emotional, life-changing moment for you in this journey of raising Ranveer?
When I heard the click of the ball flying in the...
the first time the ball got connected.
Ball connection was the first click was music to our ears.
I'm sure. I think we mentioned about that as well. Cool. What's one thing Ranveer has taught you about life?
Never say never.
Moving on. One piece of advice for parents of special needs children would you like to give based on your experience?
Accept what has been given to you by God.
Okay.
If you accept your child with whatever ability or disability the child has, life has to move on, and life will move on beautifully. Acceptance is the key, and loving your child unconditionally is the key.
That is so important. And finally, one message you'd like to give to all the parents about loving and supporting their kids.
Absolutely. Children are God's gift according to me, and I feel embracing them with whatever, because we are not perfect. So who are we to define perfection? So embrace them with whatever imperfections they have, and see how beautifully you bring them into a more confident human being rather than expecting things out of your children. Let them learn and live on their own.
How beautiful. That's a brilliant thing to say. So my next question is, Bakhtawar, who are the people in your life who you depended upon on this journey of raising Ranveer to what he is today?
Very interesting question, and I would. This journey would not have been possible had it not been a team effort. I have said this from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, of course, a very supportive life partner, my husband. He's been through all the thicks and the bad days and the good days. My own children, Parinaz and Ranvijay, who have played a big role in Ranveer's upbringing, and they have a lifelong role to play.
Yeah.
And then over the journey, we met the grandparents, of course, both the sides, and the extended family, sisters and their respective families. So it was a complete family supported unit which helped me move on. But there were therapists. There was Dr. Rajiv Mishra, who has known Ranveer since he was 2 years old, and he's still a part of Ranveer's life. There has been a Dr. Kalpana Shekhawat, who believed that, you know, let me think out of the box of how to help Ranveer. So functional medicine is what she works upon and has shown great results for Ranveer. There has been Anitya Chand, without whom, you know, golf would have never happened. So we have met a complete team, his unified partners, like I said, Rahul Agarwal, Monica Jaju, who have believed in Ranveer. Special Olympics, who was a part of Ranveer's, is still a part of Ranveer's system. So I think it was a team effort. We have been blessed, but like I said, only when I realized I had to step out and remove the social stigma label out of my mind, the support came in, poured in from all quarters. So make it a mission that social stigma, everything gets eradicated from your system, support comes in on its own. And I have met beautiful people, and I'll still meet a lot of beautiful people in this journey.
I'm sure, and it's the partners who have ensured that, you know, like it's a team effort to ensure
Absolutely
to make Ranveer reach where he is. So, you know,
today I would urge this on this platform for fathers to step in case they are only working and deciding that it's the mother's role to take over the caretaking of an autistic boy. No, it's a complete team effort. Siblings have to step in, the partner has to step in.
Absolutely.
So it has to be a team effort.
And we all need partners in our life.
Absolutely. I've been fortunate to have, Ranveer has been fortunate also to have a wonderful family, like we are fortunate to have Ranveer in our lives.
So that is the end of the rapid fire round, Bakhtawar. And thank you so much for coming over here, seeing us today and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Akshay.
you know, it's actually been amazing listening to each and every point of your story. And I almost feel like I know Ranveer now so well that I really look forward to meeting him the next time.
Absolutely. Maybe over a game of golf.
Yeah, I know. That'll be brilliant. So thank you so much for coming over, and look
you.
forward to talking to you more often.
And I have summarized Ranveer's journey into this beautiful coffee table book, which talks about a non-verbal kid's journey into what he has achieved. So this is his list of achievements, and for parents to believe in their kid that it is possible.
Absolutely.
Anything is possible.
Absolutely.
So may I please present this book to you.
Thank you so much.
This is along with Ranveer's card.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
And Bakhtawar, we have also something for you to take back from our side. May I give this to you, please?
How beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for the gesture. Wow. Canara HSBC Life Insurance celebrates Bakhtawar Saini for being a dependable promises ka partner. Thank you, Akshay. Thank you. This means a lot to me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And this is going to find a beautiful corner in Ranveer's golf arena.
And you know, for us as Canara HSBC Life Insurance, we really believe in enduring long-term partnerships, and we hope this is a start of a beautiful partnership between the company and yourself and Ranveer.
Of course, great teamwork, like I said, and great bonding and great partnership. Looking forward.
Sure. And before you move on, can I ask you to go towards the Dependability Wall, where I request you to sign a planter, and we'll keep it on the Dependability Wall, please?
Absolutely an honor.
Let's do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you once again.
So this, ladies and gentlemen, was my interaction with Bakhtawar Saini, who has not only inspired us with our life story, but also convinced us more than ever before of the need and importance of financial planning. We shall shortly see you with another guest in another episode of Season 5 of Depend on Insurance, Depend on Us. Thank you so much and see you soon. Bye-bye for now.
Canara HSBC Life Insurance. Promises का partner.